Now, we could end on a nice high there, but of course I won't let that happen. So I'm glad you were brave enough to talk about this, because I've had something on my mind that I wanted to talk about also, but I thought, you know what? I don't think I got the guts to do it, but it ties into what you're talking about. I have really been thinking lately that this industry has passed me by. And I have really sort of been wondering, like, can I continue to do the kind of radio that I want to do that motivates me in a world that now is so politically correct and so mainstream, right? There was a time back in the day with morning shows where you would come in here like in the 80s and 90s. It was all a bunch of they were zoos back in the day, right? They used to call them like the breakfast flakes or the zoos.
The morning zoo.
Honk, honk, beep, beep, and a whole bunch of dad jokes. And then everybody laughs and you get out. The industry evolved into more personality radio, right? Which is what we do. So we came into town and the shows that were doing that just felt outdated. And the guys and women that couldn't evolve ended up getting out of radio, right? So I'm wondering if I am in that phase right now, because our industry has changed so much where you have to be so mainstream and you can't be even a little bit, you can't even say offensive. You can't say any jokes and you can't take risks anymore without losing a whole bunch of listeners, which is what we are based on, right? We had an entire fan discussion group, which is based on our P1s, the most hardcore listeners that love this show, deleted their, one woman was so offended by something that happened on the show because it hit her to the core that she deleted that fan discussion, the support group, based on one thing that happened. And right after that, I thought, I just might be a guy that, even at my age, might be too edgy to do morning radio anymore, man, because it doesn't fire me up to come in here and say politically correct things all the time and just do bits that don't have any meaning. But it seems to me like mainstream radio is going that way, that I kind of feel like maybe I'm a dinosaur.
Like it's playing it too safe?
Like that's where the ratings are now. The ratings now, with things that have changed in our industry, is play a lot of music, talk for 60 seconds, get out and do something else, and talk about things that are superficial, and then get out. That's never what we've done. Never, and it's not creatively what I got into this industry for, and it still doesn't fire me up. But if we want ratings and we want to do well in our industry, I sort of have to go in that direction, and it doesn't do anything. So I've been having the same thoughts that you just verbalized. It's just like, maybe it's just, I just don't, I think I'm kind of a dinosaur and maybe this isn't the place for me anymore.
Well, so to what you're saying, and you and I have both been doing this the longest. So, I've been in morning radio for 20 years. So I've seen the evolution of it. And I'm torn because in some aspects, before I would go in, I never thought twice about what I said on the air. Right? Like, when I started doing this like 20 years ago on my previous morning show, you just went in, you said what you wanted to say and you didn't think twice about it. Whereas now I'm very hyper aware and I will have intentional pauses because I know you can say one wrong thing and you are canceled. Like, it's literally like your entire career is hinging on the words that are coming out of your mouth.
And this could be anybody in any office. It's not just a radio thing.
Correct.
You could be a salesperson in any office. You say one thing, and I think it's just making everybody very cocooned.
But also, I also do love how radio has evolved because there are things we did 20 years ago that I am not proud of. You know what I mean?
That's for sure. Right?
So it's weird. It's like, it is like this double-edged sword. Like I do feel like I have to walk on eggshells. However, I do feel like we needed some sensitivity and that we were a-holes in some of the things that we did. And I'm glad that stuff doesn't fly. I'm glad the hustle culture has been called out and that people don't do things just because they feel like they have to, but rather because they want to. So I feel like there has been an evolution in radio for good, but it also with good comes bad.
Mm-hmm. And I think for me, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's even harder when you offend people when your intentions are always good. Because then you second guess it even more.
And you kind of feel like you almost build a resume of credibility with people. So if you do get marked by somebody for doing something offensive, you would think that they would look at the last 5 years or 10 years, but it's really not like that anymore. It's like we're living in a society now where if I don't agree with you, then I hate you. and I don't want to see you anymore. It's not, you don't get any kind of leeway anymore.
It's exactly that. And it's like my coach used to say, you can't play the game afraid to make mistakes.
Yes.
Right? And it's like, that's what it kind of forces you to do.
That's what it feels like.
And when I'm walking in the door now, that's how I feel. And it just doesn't, it feels almost like podcasting is where I should be right now. You guys, I'm not speaking for the rest of the show, but it's with a heavy heart that I have been really thinking about this, that maybe I'm just one of those guys that, much like the past, that couldn't evolve and do personality radio. Maybe I can't do this. I'm not the guy that can talk for 60 seconds about really superficial things and get out and hope not to offend anybody at all. Yeah,
I get it.
The Bert Show.